Can't do anything without a medical reason. A few years ago, I worked under a terrible boss whom I shall call Tiff because of all her tiffs. Unfortunately, I am not exaggerating when I say terrible. She had HIPAA violations on record. Writing people up for stuff that she told them to do. Writing them up for things that happened when they weren't there. Changing people's schedules with no notice and then getting them in trouble when they didn't show up for the changed schedule. Trying to write people up for using FMLA. The general yelling and petty bullying bad managers do. The works. Senior management knew about all of this and aided and abetted her. Anyways, after being hauled into a meeting with her and a senior manager where she lied about me and did her best to paint me as lazy and a generally terrible worker, I'd had enough. I went to the other senior manager, who shall be called Spineless, for reasons you can probably guess, and told him that I couldn't deal with this anymore and I had to be transferred to another department in the store. I had experience in a few other areas which were in high demand, so it wouldn't be hard to find a place for me. It would just be hard to fill my spot in the bakery, especially given it was late in the year and we were always incredibly busy over the holidays. Spineless said no. Well, actually, he said that he'd see what he could do, but it wasn't likely to happen because I was too important to the bakery to lose. I pointed out that it was so stressful that it was affecting my health and I really couldn't continue. If I had to, I was going to be calling out. He still said no. We can't do anything unless you have a medical condition. Now see, I knew what he actually meant was that there was no way in hell they were actually doing anything. So I should just shut up already. Unfortunately for him, I don't like subtexts like that and I didn't feel like dealing with the mistreatment anymore. So, I sat there for a moment, debating, and decided to give him what he said he needed. See, I have a few medical issues that are annoying, but unless they actually keep me from doing my work, I think it's kind of a cop-out to bring them up. But, under the circumstances, management was being completely unreasonable. So cop-outs it was. So, I explained that I had an official diagnosis of anxiety and due to reasons above, I couldn't work under her. Spineless kind of stopped and looked at me, then said, okay, we'll see what we can do. But we'll need you to at least get through the holidays. I told him I would do my best, but I couldn't handle the constant threats of write-ups. So he would have to keep her from enacting any disciplinary measures against me. He said, sure. I also added that I really didn't want anyone else knowing about my anxiety, as I don't like my personal life being spread about. About a month later, something else happens where a bunch of cakes were ruined and I was the last one who touched it. They were someone else's responsibility as soon as I was done with them. The other person just hadn't done their part and Tiff was trying to get me in trouble however she could. Tiff hands me a write-up to sign. I'm furious, but I carefully write down in the comments section that I have a medical condition interfering with my work which I had already notified senior management of. Then I insist on having her give me a photocopy of it, which they're supposed to do but often don't. I heard from the supervisor who was also present that when she saw what I had written, Tiff had an appropriately shocked Pikachu face and asked if Sup had known anything about my mysterious medical issue. For once, Spineless had followed directions and not shared private information with the world. I probably should have just escalated to corporate at this point, but I ended up not. Just wrote a nicely worded letter about how I had requested ADA accommodations, because anxiety technically can count as a disability. I had already looked it up, and they had done nothing. Stuck copies of the letter along with the write-up and a note from my doctor in Spineless mailbox, and in the store manager's mailbox. I should probably point out that by this point about 4 other people had left the bakery due to medical conditions which were directly related to Tiff. They were legit medical conditions, but either exacerbated by her or used as an excuse to get away from her. So I certainly wasn't the first person to do this. Lo and behold, when you stuff enough legal terms along with relevant meeting recaps and dates into a letter, people do something about it. I had meetings with both the store manager, who insisted he had heard nothing about this, and Spineless, and they offered to get me out immediately but asked if there was any possible way for me to stay through Christmas, which was about 2 weeks away. I didn't really want to be working a different area when everyone else was already crazy busy with no time to catch me up. So I agreed under the condition that they changed my schedule so that I was not scheduled with Tiff at any point in time. And what do you know? They got me out right after Christmas. So, yeah, ask and you shall receive. Jerks. Hilariously enough, come February, Tiff went on vacation and the bakery supervisor asked me if there was any way I could come back to help cover, which of course I could do. Figured I might as well stick it in their face that the manager was the problem, not the department. Sadly, they didn't do anything about her until she transferred to a different store where she is no doubt still wreaking havoc. But I escaped with my sanity mostly intact, so it was a win for me. Can't help wondering how they'd have reacted if you'd said the only way you'd stay through Christmas was if they got rid of her. They say people don't quit bad jobs. They quit bad managers. I'm glad you don't have to deal with her anymore. Tell me you work at a Kroger or sister company without telling me. HIPAA violations in a store bakery? I don't think that's a thing. Revealing an employee's confidential medical information would be a violation of PIPA, not HIPAA. Why did you ruin those cakes though? Was her transfer voluntary? Awesome story, by the way. Merry Christmas to you. Or was it Happy New Year's? Anyhow, congratulations on sticking to your guns and doing it the legit way. There are entirely too many Tiffs in positions of authority. People who are in customer service, a position meant to serve people, ought to be advised, managed by someone who, at the very least, possess some level of people skills. Sounds to me like Miss Tiff needs a refresher course in positive management style and human relations. I couldn't work under conditions as soul-crushing as those you've described and not end up fired. Or worst case scenario, jailed. I have anger management, anxiety issues, and the Tiffs of the world. They trigger me. Not you, my friend. You handled your situation like a boss-ass beach. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.